Hi everybody, I'm Cassandra from Craftably Ever After and welcome to another video. Now you guys, I'm so sorry that I never posted a video last week. I actually had, as I mentioned in like a community post I put out, I had a very relaxing weekend last week. I thought that I would make a video sometime within the week that's just passed, but that just didn't happen either. So here we are, Sunday the 1st of June, and I'm ready to chat to you all. I've got loads of things to show you and to chat about. Some things that I've really loved working on, some things that made me really angry. And I will explain all of that in the video. You know, I've been in this weird crochet funk or slump, or I don't know what has been going on with me. I've been in the slightest of bad moods for about a month now. It's sort of passing, so don't worry. I'm just about back to my old self. But I have been in a bad mood, which is probably good that I didn't post last week, because the vibe of the video would have been a little different to my usual videos. But anyway, let me get into today's video. It's going to be a long one. I'm warning you guys now. There's a lot I've got to chat about, but let's get jumping onto the first thing. And usually at the start of my videos, I like to go through any Cal's crochet alongs that I participate in, or that I'm a part of, or even my own crochet along, which I haven't chatted to you about in quite a while, the Amigurumi World Tour. I'll chat about that as well today. But the first thing I want to show you is my two most recent squares from the A Year of Granny Squares Cal that my lovely friend Jenny over at In My Spare Time Crochet is hosting. Quite a few of you are joining in with that as well. I love making these squares. I mentioned to Jenny actually often, you know, every time I email her a picture or the photos of my squares, I do tell her that this is sort of a palette cleanser for me. And there's been many times where I did not at all want to make the square, but I pushed through, and it sort of feels then that I've at least accomplished one thing within the week. There's this lovely graduation speech. Now, I think some of you may have seen it on YouTube or have heard about it. It's not a recent speech. It's like going through YouTube over the last few years. But it's, I think it's given on a school graduation by, I think, someone in the army. And he says, like, he's fairly high ranked in the military. And he starts off by saying, you know what? Every single day, start the day off by making your bed. That way, you've accomplished something, even if it's small. You've accomplished one task already at the start of your day. And then he goes on to, you know, it's a great motivational speech. I will see if I can find it and link it. So if it's not linked, I just couldn't find it. But that sort of stuck in my head. And I see these granny squares the same way. You know, even if I don't get anything else done that week, I've accomplished something within crochet. So let me show you the two squares that we did recently. This was about 2 weeks ago. We did this one. And then last week, and this was the square that I very nearly did not do, because I hate, and I've mentioned this many times on the channel, I don't like bobble stitches, puff stitches, popcorn stitches. I just do not like them. I understand their purpose in crochet. I've used them in my own amigurumi patterns as well. I just do not like it. And the square that we did most recently had an absolute ton of popcorn. So all of these things were popcorn stitches. So I did the center part, and I put it down, I put my hook down, and I was sitting there for probably half an hour, just trying to motivate myself to finish this square. I didn't want to do it, but once it was done, I really liked it. So this is how I'm seeing these squares. Even if I get nothing else done, I would have made one thing in crochet. And at the end, you know, once I finish the squares, I really love it. Every single time, even the squares I've not enjoyed making, I still love the end result. So that was the year of Granny Squares Gal. The next thing, you guys, is the Amigurumi World Tour. Now, many of you have joined in. You know about the Amigurumi World Tour. For anyone that's new, I sent 2 of these physical books. Now, this is my own copy, my personal copy, but I purchased a further 2 of these, and it was sent into the world to different people. Not just YouTubers, regular subscribers as well. One book just did the rounds in the US. The other book was what I call the international book. That went to all different countries apart from the US. And this has been going on. June, like the middle of June, will be a year since I posted the books out. So I posted it about the 16th of June 2024. We have received back, or I've received back here in Denmark, the US book. It went to 26, I think, different people received the book. They made a project. They then posted the book on to the next person. This is how the books work. So 26 different people receive the actual book. They make a project and they post it on to the next person. Along with that, everyone else who had the book but who didn't receive the physical copy that's being sent around, they could jump on and make the projects as it was selected along the way. I've got this lovely journal on my blog where I have been adding the photos of everyone around the world who has joined in. Now, on our most recent post, I was so excited to let you guys know that our book has reached the very last country on the list, which is Australia. It was sent from New Zealand to Australia. I got extremely worried because it was about a month from when I knew the book was sent at the end of April, didn't hear anything, reached out to the person who was supposed to receive it, and she did confirm that she received the book. She selected the pineapple as her project, and she will be sending it on to the third last. I don't know if you can call it the third last, but there's 3 people left to receive the book in Australia. All 3 of them are YouTubers. So the next person will be Judy from Judy at Which Piece Crafts. Then it goes to Jenny over at In My Spare Time Crochet, and the very last person to receive it is the lovely Litsa at Coco's Crochet. Now, we actually have 4 projects left to select because one of the people who received the book, they did select a project that was selected already, and that's perfectly all right. But this just means that the lovely Litsa, who would have only had one, she wouldn't have had a choice. When the book, if everyone did one project from the book, Litsa would have received the book with only one project remaining. So she would have had no choice in what the project was that she could do. This now means that we have 4 projects left for 3 people receiving the book, meaning that Litsa, when you get the book, you will actually have a choice between 2 remaining projects. Now, I did a quick tally through within the week to see what we have got left from our international book, and we have got left to do the sunflower, the donut, the eggplant, and the peach. So those are the 4 projects that our 3 remaining participants getting the book will be able to choose from. So not long now, and the book will be back with me in Denmark, having spent a year like crossing the globe. It started here in Europe, on the EU, I want to call it. Then it went from the EU, it just had a quick jump over to the UK. From the UK, it went to Canada. From Canada, it went to New Zealand, and from New Zealand, it is now in Australia. So it was so much fun to follow the journey of this book. It's taken so much longer than I ever thought, and I cannot believe that we are now in the home stretch of the 2nd book. I cannot believe it was absolutely fantastic. I know many of you have joined in and you've loved the journey as well. I don't know, should we do something crazy like this again in the future? I actually swore to myself I would never do something this massive again. But now that it is almost at the end, I'm wondering, you guys, should we do some or other crazy collab like this again? An international collab. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your ideas. I would love to know what you guys see as some or other crazy crochet community collab. That is a tongue twister. But what do you guys think we can do that's sort of crazy, that in theory, on paper, it almost seems like it cannot work, but we can make it work? Let me know your crazy ideas in the comments. All right, so that is that on, let me just move my things down here out of the way. That is that in terms of crochet alongs. The next thing I did, and you guys that's been with me for a while, you know that every time I have a severe crochet slump, I don't want to work from patterns, I don't find anything to do. You know, my crochet books or my Amigurumi books, they are gathering dust. I don't feel like working on them or through them. I don't feel like looking at patterns. I don't feel like buying patterns. I mean, I have a million patterns. I don't feel like working on any of them. So when I'm in this type of a slump, I usually end up designing something. Now, I think what sparked my urge to design something again is I saw in the very latest Crochet Now magazine, the one that's out now, issue 121. Those of you who have seen the magazine, you will know that my Katie the koala, she is on the page that shows us what we will be seeing in the next issue of Crochet Now. So in issue 122, coming out sort of the 19th of June, my Katie the koala will be featured in the magazine. So this is now the third time I've been in Crochet Now. I love designing for that magazine. I love the magazine itself. I am subscribed to it digitally, have been for quite a while. And, you know, as soon as I'm in the magazine, I do order a physical copy for myself from the UK, because we don't actually get that magazine here in Denmark. It's very sad. So I always order the physical copies from the UK. But you guys, I'm so excited for Katie the koala to appear next month. Also, while we're on the topic of this month Crochet Now magazine, my lovely friend Jackie was featured in the, I don't know what it's called, the Made by You pages. I will pop a photo on here. She made this gorgeous blanket from a previous issue, and it was featured in the magazine this month. So Jackie, I was so excited when I saw your name there. It's always exciting when I see, you know, friends from our little crochet community featured, you know, in a magazine or in different sort of publications, or it's just exciting. I love it. I love being part of this community. So excited that Katie will be in the coming issue 122. But with that in mind, I thought maybe I should start sort of working on a design for the autumn. I know very soon they'll probably be sending out the autumn call for submissions, and I really wanted to make a fox. I've made foxes from Pick-a-Pow in the past. I really like her patterns. I think I'm sort of in the back of my head very much inspired by her designs. You guys know Pick-a-Pow is my absolute #1 favorite designer. And I decided I'm going to try my hand at an autumn-themed fox. And the very first girl I designed was this cute girl. Now, I didn't want to do a massive amount of color changes. I know there's fantastic fox patterns out there where they do a lot of color changes in the face. I did not want to do that. I wanted to try and keep my pattern fairly sort of not beginner friendly, but in the beginner sort of middle beginner realm, you know, so that beginners can tackle it. So this is what this girl looks like. Very, very sweet. I really enjoyed making this one. I love how I did the skirt with the 2 little frills. I really like how it turned out. Then, of course, because it's an autumn themed, I had to give her a little pumpkin. So I will think if I can make the pumpkin maybe slightly different, maybe do a pumpkin bag, or I will still see if I want to add something different. But this was the very, very first version I made. And from this, as I crochet, I then do some rough writing down of the instructions. Then normally once I've done the entire thing, before I even type up the pattern, I do a second version just from the written instructions to see if what I've written down makes sense. So I made a second one, but without the pumpkin, and she just has slightly different coloring. So this one has got a little pink shirt with a green skirt. This one, I really like this mustard yellow with the almost an army green skirt and scarf. Really liked the coloring on this one. Now all of these I made with my absolute favorite rainbow cotton 8/6, which is a sport weight cotton. Well, the rainbow cotton and Friends cotton 8/6, I use those two together. So this one I then made, she turned out perfectly. Then I typed up the pattern, which is very rare for me to do so quickly. Normally I have a design done and I would take weeks to type out the pattern, because the pattern takes actually a very long time to do. So the pattern is actually completely typed up. Then I did a third version just to see if my typed up pattern was sort of still correct. And I thought, okay, I've now done the two like traditional fox colors. Let me try an Arctic fox, which is actually just all white, but I decided not to do it just in all white. Sorry, I just want to see where the time is, because I know this is going to be a long video. I need to sort of keep myself on check. But I did an Arctic fox, but instead of just doing it plain white, I did a very light gray with it for the accents. And this was what she turned out like. And with the Arctic fox, because of the white, obviously you can do somewhat different colors. So I used this very deep purple, and this, I don't even know what this color, it's like a dark turquoise almost. So for her, instead of just having it all white, I did the light gray for the accents. But I really even like how she turned out. Now, between the two, I do prefer the traditional like orange looking fox the best, but I enjoyed making them a lot. So for those of you, if you ever want to be on my sort of rotation list for testing patterns, I've got a little list with some folks who's tested patterns for me before. If you want to be included in that list, as I say, I rotate the names. I don't like to put out tester calls. That just freaks me out completely. So I like to ask people directly to test for me. So if you are interested, if you are on my tester list already, let me know if you want to remain on it. Also, anyone who I've not asked to test for me before and you want to be on my list to test any of my future patterns, let me know and I will include you on the list. The only thing I need is your email address. So you can either send me an email. My email address is always listed in the description box below. Send me an email. Let me know if you are willing to test. Obviously, you must have some Amigurumi experience at the very least. My patterns are not difficult, but especially for this pattern, I'm not doing the extreme amount of progress photos as I did in my earlier patterns. It just takes way too long to like for every step have a photo. So my patterns, although I do explain really well, I do put a lot of photos in it. I am making those very detailed photos less and less as my patterns continue. But anyway, so this is my autumn themed fox. Let me know if you guys are interested in having a test. Send me an email and I will keep you on my tester list. All right, next. Now you guys. Okay, part of my bad mood for the last month has to do with AI, an AI generated anything. People who generate patterns and then sell it. People who generate books on ChatGPT and then sell it as if they wrote it themselves. People who write, put a prompt in and it generates a song, and then they call themselves musicians, or they call themselves, as I say, authors, because ChatGPT wrote a book based on a prompt, or a pattern based on a prompt. Or I've been so incredibly frustrated the last month. Now, I am not against AI in the least. We work a lot with AI in my day-to-day job. It has fantastic functionality. It is a great tool if used correctly. I know my husband in their company, they've got a very specialized AI tool as well. I mean, most companies these days have some sort of an AI tool that they use for day-to-day business. It's fantastic. It is a fantastic tool, but unfortunately you get a lot of scammers and frauds and fakes in the world today that are using it for the wrong purposes. And I am severely against it. I have an incredible passion for people that do a lot of hard work, and then AI comes, and people who think that they put in effort, they throw a bunch of rubbish out there in the world, and it makes it difficult for people who has a true passion for their own talent, be it writing of books, writing of patterns, creating art, whatever it is. I am sick and tired of these fakes and frauds that are taking over the internet. All right, so now you've got a bit of background of why I've been in such a bad mood. Now, those of you who follow me on Instagram would have seen a photo I posted, and I will put the side-by-side image. Now, how it happened, and I'm so frustrated with myself for not picking up that this was an AI image. I was sort of scrolling on Etsy. I wasn't looking for anything specific. As I said, I've got this crochet slump against patterns. I just didn't want to work from a pattern, actually, for the longest time. I was scrolling, and I saw this adorable photo of a Miffy bunny. Now, you guys know that I love Miffy. I mean, we had a Miffy bunny challenge last year. And, you know, I don't know how I did not recognize this image as AI. Usually, I'm actually pretty good at spotting AI straight away. And I think this is why I'm so angry, because AI is getting better. And the people who use AI to produce fake things are getting better at it. So eventually we will not actually be able to distinguish, for instance, images that's created by AI and the real thing. I think it's improving so much and at a very, very rapid pace. But anyway, it didn't even register to me that the image was AI. I looked at it very quickly. I thought, oh, I love it. I've got to make it. It's a very cute keychain size. To me, the stitches just look like it was yarn under, so it creates that X, which I'm fine with. A lot of plushy pattern designers use yarn under, so I'm used to what the images look like. I know my own amigurumi will look different because I use yarn over. Now, this was a fairly new shop. It did have something like 80 something sales. There was 2 reviews on it. And my husband afterwards said, but you should have been suspicious when there's only 2 reviews on that shop. And I said, well, I was a new shop at one stage. And at one point, I also only had 2 reviews. Now, granted, I do have a YouTube channel sort of as a backup. So a lot of people know me from YouTube. But I also had a brand new shop at one point selling patterns. I also had only 1 or 2 patterns at some point with 1 or 2 reviews. So I won't just cast aside a shop because they are new. And I really, for some reason, wanted to make this teeny tiny little Miffy bunny. Now, I purchased the pattern, which was not cheap, you guys. Even though it was marked as half price, it was expensive. But I was, like I say, I've been in a little bit of a slump, so I thought I haven't purchased a pattern in ages. I'm going to spend the money. I really want this pattern. So I started, the pattern was really well written. So as soon as I printed the pattern out, I thought, well, this is actually not too bad. There was no progress photo. So there was a main image on the first page. There was an image on the last page. But there was no progress photos, which is fine. I mean, I crochet quite a lot, so I can figure most things out. But the actual instructions were really, really good. So once I printed it out, I thought, okay, I feel a bit more relieved. The pattern looks really well put out or put together. There was a lot of nice instructions in the start, different steps, different stitches, what you need. So I started with the ears. I actually, normally when I start a pattern, I don't follow the exact steps that they give in the pattern. I always start with either the head. I like starting with the head, or if it's where the feet, the legs and the body, the feet, the body, the head is all in one. I wouldn't even do the ears and the arms. I would start straight with the feet and work my way up. In this instance, I don't know. I started as the instructions was written. So it started with the ears. The ears look exactly like they did in the photo. I did the arms also look the same. Then I got to the feet and I immediately knew something was wrong. And I told my husband, this is weird. The feet does not look like it looks on that first image. Then I crocheted on, based on what the image looked like, I thought the head would be separate, which would make sense in what was an AI generated image in the end, because the head had this completely red little tomato cap on it. Okay, this is where I started getting a little worked up. Also, even though the written instructions were quite good, there was no instructions on assembly. So when you did, okay, let me just show you the little, this is the bunny, the Miffy bunny I made. Now, you guys, it is cute. I cannot take away from the fact that he did turn out adorable. And I will explain a bit more about this, because there is an end to this very long story. Anyway, I completed the entire bunny because now the feet, the body, the head was all in one. You crochet the arms in where it didn't exactly make sense, but I thought, well, normally if you do a yarn under pattern, the rotation of your toy is a bit different. Where you have to attach things will be different, so I took that into consideration. But once I did the overalls, I knew that this pattern was not the same as the image on the front of the listing. Now I can't even link the listing anymore because it has been taken down. But this is where I got extremely frustrated once I completed this overall, because the overall straps had no indication of how you should attach it at the back of the bunny. Then I made this little headband. Now, from the photo I saw it looked like it was supposed to be a full head cap, like a little beanie almost, and then you had the ears on top of the beanie, which was not the case. It was only like a little headband, like a red headband with little leaves on it. And it was at this point that I completely lost the plot. I was so upset at this point that this was clearly not the image on the listing. So I completed this whole thing. Then I decided, okay, I'm going to reach out to the designer first before I just write a terrible review. So I wrote to the designer. I said, listen, your images that you have put on your listing is not at all the toy that I've created. I said, it's very deceiving. there's an image right at the bottom of the pattern, which shows exactly this bunny with a little headband. I mean, my bunny looked exactly like the image on the very last page of the pattern, but that image was not on the listing. So I said, I'm very disappointed because this is not what I've purchased. I purchased what is your listing photo. Then this person wrote back, she's very sorry that I'm so disappointed. The photo at the bottom of the pattern is just a variation of the written pattern. So she made the listing photo from this pattern and these other two images with just a variation of the same pattern. So I lost it. Obviously, I was still fuming at this point because then I knew she was lying. So I moaned a bit further. Then she wrote, she said, she's very sorry for my experience. She will refund me. So I did get a full refund for this pattern. But I was already on the war path. What I ended up doing was a photo search. So I took a screenshot of the images at the bottom of the pattern. I did a Google image search and I actually found the actual designer of this exact pattern. This one is a free pattern plus a free YouTube tutorial on a designer's website, the actual designer of the pattern. Beautiful, exactly word for word, her pattern that this person was selling. And the reason why the written pattern that I received did not have any instructions for assembly is because the free pattern actually has links to the YouTube video to show you how to do certain parts of the assembly, how to do, I think, the ears, how you attach the straps. So this is why this person who was selling the pattern on Etsy didn't have any description of how to assemble certain parts because it was not written in the actual designer's blog post, because the blog post linked to tutorials on YouTube. So I was furious. I went to Etsy, I reported the seller. I also wrote to the actual designer an email and said, this person is selling your pattern. I sent her a copy of the PDF I received. I said, this is what I received from Etsy. This is what this person is selling. I did report the person, but please, I think as the designer, you can report her as well. And the designer, obviously, she responded straight away. She said, definitely, it's very frustrating, obviously, that someone is stealing her patterns, and she will report them as well. And then shortly afterwards, I saw that the patterns were removed from this person's shop. So my problem is, and this is why this one made me so mad, because I actually really like this pattern. I mean, if this pattern was available last year when we did the Miffy Bunny challenge, I would have definitely linked this as a free pattern to be able to use, and I would have used it as well. It does turn out cute. It works up really quickly. As I say, the instructions are really well written. But some or other scammer has stolen a free pattern and was selling it for a very high price on Etsy, and this happens so much these days. So I'm sort of on a warpath at the moment. I've actually found so many people selling the free Peek-a-Pow patterns that you can get on Hobby. They are selling it on Etsy. So I've been reporting loads of people over the last few weeks. I'm just so frustrated. So if you guys ever come across something that is not, you know for a fact that this person has stolen a free pattern from somewhere, please, I think we have a responsibility to report. And on one of the comments on my Instagram post, someone said, you know, they only buy patterns or books from people that they see on YouTube and people that they trust. And I think this is how I'm going to have to do it moving forward. Only buy from the designers I know really well, from YouTube recommendations of channels that I watch often, channels that I trust. Because there's just, as I say, it is the internet is being taken over by these fakes and scammers, and they are driving me insane. All right, friends, I'm going to link the actual proper free pattern for this cutie. I will link it in the description box because the designer has got loads of cute free patterns on her blog, and I would gladly support anyone who goes to the trouble of doing the hard work of writing a pattern. So I will link it down below. Now that was my very, very long rant, and I apologize for that, you guys. Normally, this is not the type of thing I do on my channel. I don't get overly emotional about things like this, but like I said, the last month I've been in a bad mood because of fakes and scammers and liars, and I will not stand for it anymore. All right, on to something a little more fun. Now, after my whole Miffy bunny experience, I was just sitting on my lovely recliner chair watching some YouTube videos, and I saw a video from Dana, Blondie Knots. I don't know, I'm sure many of you follow Blondie Knots as well. She's got a very fun channel. She does a variety of different types of things, knitting and crocheting. I really enjoy watching her. And she, I think, I don't know if it was, but it was very recent, like one of her most recent, it's probably her most recent video. She spoke about Labubus. She was making a Labubu, and I just loved that video. Now, for those of you who don't know Labubus, I didn't know what they were either until about a month ago. I've never heard of them, didn't have a clue what it was about. Then all of a sudden, I started seeing videos about it. A lot of people were talking about it. Like, it came on my recommended feed on my Amazon. I was looking for blind boxes for something else coming up in June. But I just started seeing Labubus everywhere, and they are exactly the type of thing that I like. They're quite ugly, but very, very cute. So I decided to buy Labubu. Now, at the point when I bought it about a month ago, I didn't realize that it's actually near impossible to get these things. Like, you almost currently cannot get your hands on a non-fake, like a real Labubu. But I will show you. I do have only one. Like, it's not something I will start collecting or anything, but I really wanted to see what was this about. So this is a Labubu. Now, this is not even like their main series. They've got like some main series. This is like one of their side collabs. They do like collabs with brands. Obviously, you can see this one is Coca-Cola. So this is actually the only one I've been able to get my hands on, was this Coca-Cola one. So you get like a few different ones holding different Coca-Cola bottles. The other one holds a little can, and then you've also got a mystery one. But it's near impossible to get your hands on one of these Labubus. Now, I mean, look at this face. Is it not just the creepiest and cutest thing ever? Like, it's like a slightly creepier version of a Monchichi. Now, those of you who come from the same era, grew up in the 80s, you will know Monchichis. So I do have a Monchichi as well. It's exactly the same type of look, but the Monchichis are a little friendlier. They don't, they don't look like these ones. But anyway, like in recent weeks, I've watched a lot of videos about Labubus. It is quite scary, you guys, like what our society is turning into. So if you want to know about Labubu, I'm not going to go into the lore and the whole thing behind Labubus, but just know it is something that you almost cannot get your hands on. So I'm actually very happy for my little Coca-Cola Labubu, which is quite funny. It feels like I grew up on Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is one of our family's most favorite soft drinks, although we have shifted more to the Coke Zero version. But yeah, I love this guy. He hangs in front of my desk. I really like him. Anyway, but this video from Blondie Knots, she was talking also about how she can't get her hands on a Labubu, but she is going to crochet one, and she did such a brilliant job. Her video was fantastic, so I will link it down below. Once I saw that video, and with me still sort of in my mood over my Miffy bunny experience, I decided I'm going to crochet Labubu as well. I really like them. I want to crochet one. Now, I don't have a lot of fluffy yarn. I went into one of my boxes to see what I had, and I had one skein of this. Now, I bought this probably 2 years ago. I tried working with it. It's near impossible to work with, which is the only reason I still had the full skein. I tried it, I couldn't manage it, and I just chucked it in one of my bins. But I thought, this is screaming to become a Labubu. So the pattern tells you must use a 5 weight for the body, and I think a 1 or 2 weight, like a sport weight, for the face. So I had this is rainbow bamboo. I bought this from Hobby probably 2 or 3 years ago at this point. So perfect color for like the little face and the feet and the hands. This one for the body. I purchased the pattern because now I knew it was recommended by someone I trusted. Bought the pattern that Blondie Knots had used, and I made this cute version. Now this little face, some of the Labubus do have these little like smiley little faces. I didn't have the energy to try and figure out how I was going to do the oval shaped eyes. I thought, no, I know they come in these little smiley faces as well. My little smile is a bit far down on the face, but that doesn't matter. It's, you know, it's a Labubu inspired blushie. I really, really like how it turned out. This yarn was terrible to work with. I hated it, to be honest. But I struggled through it. I literally had to count every single row. I counted the amount of stitches. I could not feel the stitches. I could not see the stitches. So if a round was supposed to have 12 stitches in it, I counted until I got to 12. And that was it. I didn't know if I had 1 stitch per stitch or if there was 3 in 1 stitch and then I had a few gaps and then 1 stitch and then 2. I don't know. But I did manage to complete it. So I cannot tell you what the stitch counts, where the stitches are, how I found them. I just counted until I had the stitches that I was meant to have for that round, and then that was the end of the round. So it was an absolute nightmare to work with, but it looks amazing. I love how this turned out. Will I work with it again? I don't know. This was a struggle. But this is so cute. Look at the little feet, the little hands. This, now, I wanted to do something different actually. I purchased these when we went into the city. I thought this is going to be so cute. So this was my idea. I wanted to do something like this rather as the, you know, the hangy bit, but I couldn't get it to work properly. Then I found this, which was from a Toft, like I got it in a Toft subscription bag 2 years ago, I think. So I like put it on there, works really well, and my little Labubu is now also hanging at my desk, and he makes me smile. Like these 2 things, I know you guys, I'm nearly 50, but these 2 things, now obviously mine is much bigger than a proper Labubu, but they make me smile, and that is all that matters. So I know a lot of people have never heard of Labubus before. Don't worry, friends. Like I said, up until a month ago, I had no cooking clue what they were. And they've been big for quite a while now. So I'm surprised that I only heard about it a month ago. But please go and have a look at Blondie Knots' video. She did an awesome job. But this is my Labubu. All right. The very last thing, friends, last but definitely not least. It's a little happy mail that I received from my lovely friend Mary Rose over in Canada. Now, a few weeks ago, I posted a video where I showed you guys I was making sunburst granny squares made from the retro stripes yarn. So it's like a little ongoing side project. There's no rush to it. I want to do a blanket eventually with these squares. Through like the last couple of years, a few people have sent me in happy mail the Red Heart retro stripes. It's not a yarn that's easily accessible to me, so I have been hoarding the ones I got in happy mail because it's one of my favorite colors of yarn. And Mary Rose wrote to me and she said, after she saw that video, she has extra retro stripes. Can she send me a skein that I can also use as part of my blanket project? And I said, oh, thank you very much, I would love it. Then she said, oh, is there something else that she can send as well? I said, no, I'll be happy just with the retro stripes, but I do collect key chains or key rings from around the world. And if she wants to, if she can send me a Canadian coin. That's what I asked for extra. So I got my Happy Mail, was it maybe about 2 weeks ago now, a week and a half, 2 weeks, I can't recall exactly. But in the Happy Mail, and I'll show you just the yarny bits, because the other things I have now taken out of the packaging. She sent me gorgeous keychains, like a little moose and one that says Canada. Also 2 lovely little magnets, one with a black bear on it and one with a moose. All of that is now ready. I've got this big display in front of my desk, so they are on there as well. She did send me a couple of coins from Canada. My son actually, he collects coins from around the world, and we sort of inherited, you know, my dad gave Jaden all of his coin collection, and we've been adding to it throughout the years. So we didn't have Canadian coins, so thanks to my friend Mary Rose, Canada is now represented in our coin collection as well. She sent beautiful postcards, because I love getting postcards. She wrote the most beautiful note. She sent me some stamps. It was just such a lovely parcel to receive, but I will show you the yarn that she included. So obviously what kicked it off was my favorite Red Heart retro stripes. Then she also said, this is sort of, it's not Red Heart, it's Mainstays, but it has the exact same colors as the retro stripes. It's also 4 weight, but it is ever so slightly thinner. So she said that this would actually be good maybe for a border, because you won't even realize it's a different yarn. And honestly, looking at the colors, it is exactly the same, exactly the same colors, apart from this Mainstays is like a tiny bit thinner. So these are my 2 retro stripes yarns. Then she also included for me to try the Premier Just yarn tweed. So she did send 2, which means I will definitely be able to make a little bear out of this one. And then she sent me a mandala ombre in the blue. Now I received a few mandala ombres from my friend Kathleen a while back in Happy Mail, and I've still got quite a few of the cakes left. So I think I want to do something. I've got them now in a few different colors. I really like working with this mandala ombre. It's a lovely yarn to work with. It works, the colors works up beautifully. So I think I want to think of some other project that I can combine all of my mandala cakes, because they're all now different colors. So maybe this would be some other blanket in the future as well, because I've got quite a few of these cakes, and they are quite, I mean, they've got quite a bit of yardage on them. 344 yards or 315 meters. It's 150 gram cake. So I think definitely my mandala ombres, my Happy Mail mandalas, will also end up in some or other keepsake projects. So Mary Rose, thank you for your lovely gift. It brought me so much joy, especially this month, where I really needed it. All right, friends, that is it. This has been an incredibly long video, and I apologize for that. Thank you guys for hanging out with me every week. Thank you for your comments. You are all fantastic. I love reading your comments. Again, I'm terrible with responding, and I'm so sorry. Please know that every comment I get, it just warms my heart. I love receiving them. I try to answer as many as I can. I love getting your emails. I just love being part of this community. You are all brilliant. Now just remember, I'm going to put for a last before I log off for today. Remember, if you still want to join in and you have this book, feel free to email me your photos. I would love to include it in our journal that is on my blog. I will link the journal in the description box below. All right, you guys, that is it. Remember, give me suggestions for another crazy crazy collab. Tell me your thoughts on the scammers and spammers out there. Are you like me and you are now on the warpath to just bring all of this out and, you know, force them out of our systems, and we have to stand together against them, friends. But that's it. I'm not going to rant in my future videos, hopefully, about it too much. You've had enough ranting from me for today. All right, let me go. Let me leave you. I hope you have all had a wonderful weekend so far. I hope you're ready for the week ahead. Happy June. I cannot believe we are just about through the middle of 2025. Time is going by quickly, you guys. This is why do what you love. That's it. This is what I'm preaching as always. Do what you love. Do what makes you happy. And thank you for being a part of my life. All right, friends, I'm going to leave you for now, but I will chat to you all very, very soon. So until I see you in the next video, stay safe and stay crafty.